Hello and welcome. This is the 7th episode of a talk series that I'm doing. Last episode, we talked about experiments in authenticity, and we talked about how personal authenticity and the social roles in life kind of interact, how you can try things with that if you want. This episode, I guess we're gonna kind of continue along those themes. We're gonna open it. It's a little bit. We're opening it up a little bit. And we're just gonna start it off with a few voice notes. So here they are. The date is September 7th, 2025. This is another voice note. That was with emphasis, because I was looking on YouTube and there was a video that said, it was like a tutorial about taking out all the uhs and ums out of your whatever kind of media you put out. And it's like, oh, that almost seems like a little shot, a little snipe at me, personally. Just because, yeah, you'll have noticed I leave the uhs and the ums. Or at least most of them. Sometimes I'll take out the really bad ones. But I think, I think I mentioned this before, there's something about natural speech. I think it has a value. And also, obviously not all projects and genres and everything, you can get away with that. I mean, obviously, if you're doing more scripted stuff like film or TV or broadcast, whatever, you have to be a lot more polished. But I mean, when you're able to get away with a format that allows for more natural speech, I think there's value in that too, because natural speech sounds good to people because they're used to. It's like how people actually talk. So when nothing against the speakers or podcasters or whatever, who are very polished and very good at what they do, and they never stutter or do any of that. That's great. I mean, good for them. That's a hard skill to learn. But yeah, so I'll say my piece on that. Maybe somewhere down the road, if this keeps going, there'll be more editing and polish, but for now, we're leaving a little natural, organic, just in the format of speech. So, what else do you say about that? Authenticity and what was it? Rationality. It's going along the themes of not thinking of in binaristic terms, that we all find our own degree of both those things: authenticity, rationality, how much we want to use them or incorporate them in our lives. And if that doesn't make much sense to you, let me try to make a simple example out of it. Think of the manic pixie dream girl, right? The manic that archetype. The manic pixie dream girl is like more authenticity than rationality, right? It's the spirit being that comes into some a very rational person's life, and that's the trope. You think 500 Days of Summer or something like that. I mean, they have the very rational person, and then the spiritual, a lot of times feminine being, who is almost complete complete intuition, spontaneity, authenticity, and then they set up that contrast in a romantic sort of scenario. But no, that's like oversimplifying things a lot. We all have that thing in us that we have that drive to be authentic, but also rationality helps us get along in the world, I guess you'd say, and to some degree or another. Yeah, you give up a little authenticity here and there, or a lot of authenticity if you're doing it some other way. I mean, yeah, I know people who they completely forgo the concept of the self, like it's egotistical or something. But no, the self and the ego are not even the same thing. I mean, it's two different things. One's more energy, and one's more of a built-up constructed thing. The date is September 2nd. This is another voice note. Here's an interesting thought exercise. Well, just in these last 5 years or so, I think a lot of people's their lives have kind of, well, just with everything that's happened in the country and stuff, it's and I was thinking, well, I think a lot of people have. I don't know. They've had to look for things that they find meaning in. And anyways, well, just along those lines, here's an interesting thought exercise. And you can do this with the subject in mind of yourself, or of with another person, perhaps, and you can imagine different lives that would be interesting or enjoyable to experience for however long. I mean, I would think there would be at least some sort of a duration, a significant duration, or else you wouldn't really call it a lifestyle. It would be more of just a temporary experience. But you can imagine different lifestyles, and that would include, the location, kind of your day-to-day activities, the person you're with, what you do together. How does that look? Like, would it be? You imagine, like, right now. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you're into just some. Let's pick some random thing, politics or something. And so you say, right now, you look at the state of politics, and you're like, okay, well, I want to try to be a mayor by this time, and then move up governor or something. And then you have to imagine what a life like that would be like, and if you know enough, if you've been around that kind of environment, or if you researched, you can probably do a pretty good job of imagining that. And you could do that with whatever you're in, whether you want to go work at some company, whether you want to do your own thing, be an independent business with some kind of thing you do, or your art, or writing, or media or something. So you can write, you can just, you can do this thing where you imagine different lifestyles, and it's good to note the ones that sound interesting, because sometimes they're compatible with each other. You could even think, like, if you want to do a certain thing for work, but you also want to be with a certain person, something like that, or you want to live in a certain place. And a lot of times, all of them are compatible with each other. And so if you start thinking about these things you want to experience, these lifestyles, or these skills that you want to improve at, you can start thinking of those. And I think it's important not just to try to think of it and identify it as something you want to do, but then to imagine it. Imagine yourself doing it, and what does that look like? And you can start to form these different ideas of things that would be nice to have in your life. But along those same lines, so, when you start imagining lifestyles, you can, if you're being a little cynical, you could say there's a downside to that. The downside is that you start to, right, then you're always never satisfied with what's around. It's like that film Seconds. Who did that star? John. One of those classic black and white. What was his name? Damn it. Anyways, the film Seconds, where the guy's he's unhappy with his life, and they give him there's some organization that comes and gives him a whole new life. As I forget what he was. He was some kind of businessman at the beginning. He was he was in kind of a dreary life, and he ended up getting a business card or something, and they gave him a whole new life. They I think it was like they asked him to show up somewhere, or kidnapped him, and he basically just woke up in this new life in a new place, and he was a painter. And the thing is, even then, the whole point, the film was kind of dark and depressing, even though it was an incredibly good film. But the point was like that the main character was just kind of a jerk off, because he couldn't find happiness with anything. And the thing is, like, about that film, I've always been like, wow, that's odd, because my problem has always been, I think I'd enjoy like so many different lifestyles. I'd enjoy living so many different ways, as long as it had certain things that were enjoyable, right? And so I've never been too specific. I've never wanted to close myself off to options of the universe and different paths and stuff. So that's interesting. How did that go? How did that get onto that? Lifestyles, imagining lifestyles. Yeah, usually when I'm doing that, it's not like, I guess it is, it's, when it comes to resources, it is kind of like, I couldn't go on any longer without the proper resources to thrive and live a full life. But just in terms of general lifestyle, location, places, people, and stuff, I've never really, I appreciate a lot of it. I'm like, I could be happy here. I could be happy doing this, happy doing that. I could be fulfilled in a lot of ways if they had basic. But again, it comes down to financial resources, because no matter what, I mean, yeah. Anyways, but back to the point of imagining lifestyles. So yes, you may want to not do that such to the point that where you just daydream. You just daydream all day about a different lifestyle or something. But if you imagine the lifestyles in a way, you identify the things about them that you find enjoyable, whether it's a certain a social act. You and your friend group like to go camping every few months in the summer and fall or something, and it's like, okay, and then you can identify that activity as something that you enjoy doing, and then you can start to again get these ideas of things in your life, whether it's a certain person, whether it's a certain activity, a certain field of work or interest. Like there's all these things, and so it's interesting. But anyways, let's leave off on that, and we'll pick it up later. But what we were talking about is what we were going to talk about is possibilities. How it's interesting, because you would think that the more possibilities that one sees in the world for themselves, you'd think the more possibilities that person sees, almost the better worldview, or the happier, perhaps, more positive worldview that person would have, right? If you see nothing as possibilities, then you think maybe that person has got a cynical view of the world or something. But if you see everything as possibilities, that's not great either. It goes back to that double-edged sword stuff, because when everything is always possibilities, and the only unknown is what it would take for those possibilities to become real or actualized, then like everything is a possibility that you could do, but you just don't know how it would work or how long it would take, and then it becomes this weird gray thing. And then there are different levels of possibilities. Like you could just take it down to the possibilities in your day-to-day life, and then compound that with a higher level of possibilities of the universe and dimensions and religious ideas and philosophy, and they're on both of those possibilities are always going on simultaneously in the mind. So you have, if it's hard looking at existence that way or life that way, and not having to come up with some kind of strategy to deal with the idea of that, all the possibilities. And what I have tried to do is, instead of necessarily focusing on the possibilities, to try to accentuate or make clear consistently the things that I want to have in my life. And I've said them many, many times. I'm sure many of you are aware. just the financial resources, the freedom in life to build and create and travel and do this or that or buy equipment. Like that's definitely a huge part of having a fulfilling life, I think. And then just and having an environment that you appreciate a lot with the kinds of people and the settings and nature and the businesses or whatever, so that kind of stuff. I mean, you can work out a pretty simple formula, uh, yeah, or with a specific person, whatever you end up doing, or location that you want to live. I mean, I think it's a pretty simple formula of like the basics or the base plate that you could figure out, of kind of what would be a life that you would enjoy. Um, and then I like that strategy, but the only problem is if you do that too much, um, then you're always just sending out what you want to happen, and you're not um, you're not looking at the possibilities enough. So maybe it's some kind of balance. Maybe it's some kind of balance between that. That's why I think it's great when the universe just brings possibilities and opportunities and makes it clear and asks you if you want them or not. Like you get an email that is an offer for something directly, and then in that case you could stop wondering about this or that, and you could just say, oh, either yes or no, and just respond, hey, yeah, I'll go do this thing or whatever for this amount. I mean, or whether it's a funding opportunity for a project, you have some emails that, hey, I saw your thing and you're looking for investors, so I wanted to, you know, offer you this for that and get a conversation started. I mean, like that's the best thing. That's the thing that I like the most, is when I actually get approached with opportunities, as opposed to always having to try to find them and then initiate them and over and over. That gets exhausting. Yeah, that's not great. I'm not crazy about doing that all the time. I mean, it'd be nice if you know that at least there's like a contract for something or a investment or something in place, and you know what the details are and how much your budget is and all that. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know. It's possibilities, a double-edged sword. It's and that is the episode. We talked about a lot of interesting things, imagining lifestyles, how that can be useful in crafting your ideal experience, and also the idea of possibilities. An interesting thought about the possibilities thing. You know, when you're looking at life and trying to look at everything as a possibility, now that's an actual really great way to look at it. But again, it's nice when things are possibilities are easier to bring into actuality. I think in society there's far too much, it's too much, bullshit, to put it simply. I mean, just to do things that one wants. But I think we've talked about that plenty in a lot of these series. So Anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll see you again soon. Have a nice week.